Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
Hi everyone and welcome. We're going to get moving and have a little bit of fun with it. And I started thinking about what that meant in my house. I was working with my grandson. We were kind of singing the ABC song, and I started thinking that exercises can resemble actual physical parts of the alphabet, as we're going to see later on. And I had someone ask me, well, what are the ABCs of fitness? It made me start to think. And I'm like, ABCs of fitness? Where do you begin? What do you mean? And I did some reading, and it said agility, balance, and coordination. And let me tell you, those are three things that I do not have in spades. But what do the ABCs of fitness look like to me? I would say adaptability or accessibility for A. I have to be able to adapt an exercise or make it accessible for me to do in a way that works for my body. B, balance, yes, but it's in a different way than I think the agility, balance, and coordination. It does help with physical balance, but I find for me the main thing is the mental balance. I get a sense of relaxation, stress relief, and calm from exercise, so it can balance some hectic times in your life. And for the C, I think it would be core for me, because the core does support my balance and supports all of our movements. So that might be my top ABCs of what fitness might be. And we're going to go through some of those shapes. We had a tactile set of alphabets, and that's what really kind of drove me to think about this. So what I would like you to do is you're going to find a space that's nice and open where you can move. If you would like to use dumbbells, you can have those handy. You want to have water nearby. Have your space clear of people, pets, unless you want to grab a buddy to hang out with you and do the exercises with you, and any type of projects that you would work on. I am a bit clumsy and I like to move around, so I like to have a nice open space where I can swish my arms around and kick my feet out. So we're going to get warmed up, and why we warm up is to get that body ready. It gets kind of the blood flowing, prepares the muscles for work. We'll move into some exercises. And then we got to stretch things out or cool it down, which is probably one of my favorite parts. I integrate that into every part of my day, into some of the breaks that I take at work. And then you're going to stay tuned, because we're going to have some fitness tips or wellness tips in an interview section. So that's what our session today is going to look like. So we're going to head into the warm-up, and I have to tell you, I'm having a little bit of fun today. I have an absolute favorite pair of pants, and to me, they're the equivalent of light-up shoes for a toddler. So my pants are like metallic and shiny, and I like to have a little bit of fun when I work out. They make me think that I'm super fast, so I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to do the warm-up standing today. You can do this seated. So everything we do today, I will have a seated option for you. So I'm standing nice and tall. If you're sitting in your chair or on a stool or wherever you like to sit, even on the floor, think of being nice and tall through that torso. You're like a stack of blocks. Everything is in line. Your chin, it's like you're holding a giant orange. You're just creating a bit of length in the neck and bring it slightly back, so your neck and spine are in line. Think of that core being, I like to call it activated or on, so that belly button is kind of in. So it's like if I poke you, it's firmed up. We're going to start off with stretching out the neck. I'm going to utilize my left hand. Use whichever hand you wish. I'm going to reach it up to the sky, and I'm going to bend at the elbow and place my palm on the opposite side of my head. So I'm just using my hand as resistance, and I'm going to take my ear to my shoulder. So my hand is on the opposite side of the head as the ear is going to the shoulder. Now, you do not have to use your hand. This is just for a little bit of heat, a little bit of an assisted stretch. So if you're not using the hand, you just go ear to shoulder. Same ear, same shoulder. That feels fantastic. Now you can change the angle of your chin, so I can look towards that armpit a little bit if I want to change that stretch. And now I'm going to release. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to take my hand, reach my arm straight up to the sky, and it's going to go to the opposite side of my head. And I'm going to go ear to shoulder. Or, like I said, don't use the hand. You can just go ear to shoulder. Watch what your core is doing. Often we like to just relax that low belly. And you can change the angle of that chin. You can, look more towards your armpit. You want to find where that stretch feels good for you. So the angle of the head is going to be a little bit different for everyone. And we're going to let that go. So that's something you can kind of, I'll even do that when flying. I hold a lot of tension in my upper body. It works really, really well. We're going to move that blood a little bit more, get the oxygen going, and we're going to do arm circles or O's. So there's one of your alphabets. So my arms are at my sides, palms towards my side. I'm going to swing my arms way up towards the ceiling, make a big circle, and bring them down. You control the size of your circles, okay? So up, around, and down. Up, around, and down. Up, around, and down. And let's reverse it just for fun. So I'm going to change the direction. Around and down. For 2 more. And down, up, around, and down. Now to continue that motion of getting the blood flowing, we're going to go into a jog. If you're seated, what I want you to do is move the arms. So pump the arms as if you're running. Otherwise, you're going to pick up those feet with me and you can jog on the spot. You can go as high knee as you want, as quick as you want, and I'm moving the arms. Keep going. And I'm going to slow it down. And if there's anything of those exercises you want to repeat, feel free. But we're going to move into the exercises right away.
Get ready to exercise. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen. We'll be right back. Let's exercise. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen is back.
I hope you had a chance to get a drink. And we're going to do some exercises that you can choose to do seated, or I am standing. I'm going to use some dumbbells today. I have 3-pound dumbbells. You can use dumbbells, I would suggest starting light. And if you ever feel fatigue in the muscles or shaking or tiredness, I would definitely put them down and just go through the movements until you get comfortable with the movements. When you pick up and put down weights, we never drop our head down to pick them up. If you're standing, you're going to bend at the knees to pick them up, because if you ever get dizzy and fall forward, that's not going to feel so great. And same thing, carefully, if you are seated, you can have them in a more elevated position where you can pick them up. So we're going to start with, I talked about alphabets. We're not going to start with the ABCs. We're going to start with V. So the latter half, or the latter portion of the alphabet. So I'm standing nice and tall. So if you're sitting, sit up nice and tall. Imagine that stack of Legos. Your core is tight, because when we start moving the arms, it can change kind of our posture. And we want to protect the back, the spine, all those good things. So my arms are down at my sides. Like I said, you do not have to use weights. You would just make gentle fists if that's the case. So my palms would be facing my legs. I've got the dumbbells round end to the front of me and round end to the back of me. Otherwise, your fists are going to go there. Now I'm going to rotate. So my palms are facing behind. My arms are still at my sides. I'm rotating them back. Now, when I raise my arms, they're going to come to shoulder level or shoulder height in a V shape. So not straight out to the side in a T and not straight out in front of you. So it's kind of at a diagonal. So think of making a V shape. I'm going to raise my arms up and they're slightly to the sides, no higher than your shoulder height, and lower it back down. Don't let that rib cage pop out. You want to keep everything nice and tight, and raising it into that V shape and back down. Now, if you have a shoulder injury, raising them up, go lighter with the weights or go without, and back down and back up. And back down. And can this be done one-sided? Yes, it can. Back up and back down. And we got 4 more. Up, no higher than shoulders, and back down. Now watch your wrists too. Make sure you're not tilting that wrist back so it looks like you're revving up a motorcycle. And 4 more up and back down. Up and back down. And last 2. Up and back down and up and back down. Now, if you're going to put your weights down, remember what I said, you're going to bend at the knees, or you can place them on a surface where you don't have to bend down. Now, I have had some rotator cuff tears. So this is something, if you have rotator cuff injury or shoulder injury, you really want to be careful on that. You're going to go light on the weights, or you're going to go without weights to get that strength. You can even use like a house coat tie to make that have that shape and just hold your shoulders kind of in line. So I don't know if anybody can notice, for those of you that can, kind of see, visualize what I'm doing, one of my shoulders does not function the same, so one arm doesn't raise quite as high as the other. It's just a slight difference. So don't panic if that's you. It's okay. You're going to move within your body's own limits. So we're going to do that same thing again. My hands are at my sides. I'm going to rotate my palms so they're facing back. I'm going to make that V, raising them up and back down and up and back down and up. Keep your shoulders down your back, so you don't want them up to your ears, and back down. And this is the halfway point. Up and back down, and 4 more. Up and back down, and raising up and back down. 2 more. Up and back down, and last one. Up and back down. So watch your grip too. So if you have arthritis or anything going on within your hands too, if you're gripping those weights too tight, it's not going to feel so good. So you want them to be secure, but without squeezing them so hard that you're causing any pain or pressure within your hands. Now, I had somebody say to me, well, Bobbi, when you're doing this, if you're not sure if your arms are at the right height, why don't you just use a mirror? And I thought, well, interesting, but I can't see myself in a mirror, so to me it's not helpful. But that is something, if it works for you, that you can utilize to kind of look at yourself in the mirror. For me, I go by feel. Okay, so we've got our last set. My arms are at my sides. I'm going to rotate my palms so they're facing behind me. I'm going to make that V shape at shoulder height. Abs are tight. Watch what your head's doing, so you don't want to be dropping that chin way down. Okay, and raising to that V, shoulder height, and back down and up and back down. Are you breathing? I hope so. Up and back down. When I'm concentrating, I hold my breath sometimes. And up and back down. That is the halfway point for this set. And 4 and down and 3 and down. 2 more. Up and down and up and down. So you have 1 more set, and then we're going to change letters. Okay, hands at the sides, rotate the palms back. If you need to give those shoulders a little shake, please do. If you've been utilizing weights and it's getting to be a lot, put them down. There's no rules to that here. We don't want to cause injury. We want to get a workout without pain. Okay, and here we go. And up and back down and up and back down. Up and back down, up, and that's your halfway point. Abs are tight, and raising it up and bringing that back down. My shoulders are starting to get tired. Up and back down, up and back down. Give me 1 more. Up and back down. I'm actually going to set the weights down for the next one, just because I can feel that old shoulder injury kind of nagging at me. Sometimes that's the joys of being a cane handler or a guide dog user. It's just a bit of an overuse injury, so you want to make sure that we're strengthening the muscles without causing any further injury. So know your limits. So you can still use your dumbbells if you wish, or your soup cans or water bottles. Standing or sitting, we're going to work on the letter T. So switching from a V to a T. My hands are at my sides. And if I'm using my dumbbells, I'm just going to hang on to those with my palms facing my outer thighs, okay? So that's where I want my hands facing. And I'm going to raise my hands straight out to the side at shoulder height. My arms are straight. Out and back down. Out. Your abs are tight, and back down. Out and back down, out and back down. This is your halfway point right here. Out and back down. Can it be done one-sided? Yes, it can. And up and back down and up and back down. Let's go for 2 more here. Up and back down and up and back down. So shake it out. I play hockey, and I find too that my upper body takes takes a lot. It's a different motion for me to shoot a puck, so my shoulders have told me they need a little more work lately to strengthen them, as well as working on flexibility. So we're going to do a second set of those exercises. If you need to set your dumbbells down between exercises or grab a drink, do so. I like to shake things out between sets. Now my hands are down at my sides. You can grab your dumbbells or not. I'm going to make gentle fists because I'm not using dumbbells this set. Abs are tight, head's in line with the spine. And you're going to raise your arms straight out to the side into that T shape and back down, straight up, and back down, and up, and back down. We have a house full of superheroes, so I'm imagining like Batman opening a cape here, and raising the arms straight out to the side, and back down, and up, and back down. And let's go for 2 more. Up, and back down, and up, and back down. So you're going to shake it out. We've got a third and last set of those. We've done an O, a V, a T. Okay, so I'm giving it a shake. Dumbbells or not, water bottles or not. If you're using soup cans, it's got to be the same kind of soup. Chicken noodle soup and mushroom soup, way different amounts, so go for the same. Hands at your sides, abs are in, chins. So imagine it being your neck is in line with the spine like that stack of Legos. So you're just going to draw your chin back slightly. We often are forward with our heads, especially when we are working on devices or just posture in general. Okay, palms are facing the outside of the thighs. I'm going to make gentle fists or use dumbbells. Raise straight out to the side like you're opening a Batman cape, and back down and out to the side and back down. Now you might feel this along the rib cage, and up and back down. So these are some of the muscles that we are strengthening as well. Up and back down into the back, the shoulders, and up and back down into your lats, which is in your back, up and back down. And we have 4 and back down, 3 and back down, 2 and back down, and 1 and back down. So I want you to take a chance to grab a drink, stretch it out, and we're going to continue with our exercises in a moment.
Keep moving. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen. We'll be right back. Back to the exercises on Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
I hope you've had some time to hydrate, drink your water, shake it out a little more if you need. You can always take a stretch break in between to just kind of work out those muscles and stretch out any kinks. But we're going to continue on with that alphabet theme with this next exercise. So we're going to make the shape of a W. And I touched a little bit on superheroes there, Wonder Woman being my favorite superhero. And I know that she has a W on her outfit, so that's very fitting. Makes me super happy with my flashy pants on. Dumbbells or no dumbbells, soup cans, whatever it is that you want to use. So I want you to stand or sit nice and tall. Think of that core being on. If I were poking you in that belly, because that's the first thing to go. It's just like, oh, okay. So we're getting into, I'm a child of the 80s, so getting into these very tight acid wash pants in my brain. It's like bringing the belly in and up. Hands are at your sides, seated or standing. Shoulders are down your back. My palms are facing the outside of my thighs, but I'm going to rotate them so they're palm back, facing behind me. Now that Y or that V exercise we did, that's where our arms are going to kind of go, but they're going to go right above your head. So I'm going to raise my arms straight out in front of me, but kind of at a diagonal. So not out in that T, not straight out in front, but in that diagonal, in that V shape, and I'm going to continue all the way up to the sky. Now my ribs are going to try and pop out here. I'm going to imagine controlling that rib cage, so think of using your abs to keep those ribs from popping And I'm going to draw my elbows down. So I'm bringing them down towards my sides, making a W shape. So pulling those elbows down, squeezing your back. So my elbows are going to be lower than shoulders, my shoulder height. And I've got my finger in between your shoulder blades, and I need you to squeeze it. Or imagine somebody holding a pencil there, and you want to squeeze that. Okay? This is also, you can open your hands and have flat palms if you're not holding dumbbells. That works well too. So I'm going to bring my arms back up into that V shape above my head and squeeze it down. Working into your lats, your muscles within your back, V shape, and down. This is the halfway point, V shape, and down. And 4 more. Up and down, keeping that core tight. Up and down. Up into that V and down. Give me 1 more. Up and down. Because I hold so much tension in my upper body, and if you do too, just kind of wiggle it out. Take a few seconds. You can rest between sets, but I'm going to move into set 2 right away. So it's kind of that, well, it's exactly the same setup. Watch your core. Watch your chin isn't looking way up following your arms or way down. You want to keep that head in what we call a neutral position. Hands are at my sides, turning my palms back. If I'm using weights, I'm holding onto them securely, but not gripping them so tight that I'm causing any pain. I'm going to raise my arms, going into that V shape, up and all the way up overhead into a V. Okay, it's kind of like a victory stance if you win the Olympics. It's like, woo. Okay, and draw those elbows down, making that W. So you're squeezing into the back. So elbows come down towards the floor and press your arms up. And down, and pressing up. You should feel this kind of just under the shoulder blades, down, and I feel it in my mid back, and up. This is the halfway point, down, and up, and down. If you hold a lot of tension in your neck, watch that you're not doing that here. Think of relaxing the muscles at the back of the neck. You can shake your head no or yes a little bit in between your reps here, and down, up and down and up, and we're gonna go for 1 more and down. Ooh, this gets warm, and up, and bring it down. So you can put your weights down if you need to, bending at the knees to set them down, or set them down on a table. Just watch, they're not going to roll down on your toes, because that is definitely not fun. So when we're doing sets and reps, we want to be able to complete them. It might be a little bit tougher, but not impossible or painful to finish. Those last ones, you might just kind of go, whew, but you don't want to be feeling pain. Okay, so if you're feeling pain and you're using weights, you want to be putting those weights down, or you want to be dropping the number of sets. Last set here, set yourself up, meaning having that core engaged. Think of bringing that belly button in, wearing those super tight pants, but you should be able to breathe. Breathe normally and deeply. Hands are at the sides, turning my palms back, and I'm going to raise my arms into that V, or that victory shape, all the way up above my head. My head is staying in neutral. Do not bring your arms behind your head. Now I'm going to draw those elbows down, making a W. So my elbows are coming down towards the floor. They're quite a bit lower than my shoulder height. And I'm going to press my arms up into that V. And down, and up, and down, and up, and down, and up, and take it down. Squeeze, 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 and press, and down, and up. Let's go for 2 more. And down, squeeze, press up, keep that core tight, and down, and back up. Once again, as I told you, a lot of these exercises can be done one-sided. So I'm thinking of some of my para-skiing friends. If they want to do this one side to strengthen one side of their body, you are welcome to do so. If you're rehabbing from injury and you have to rest one side, you can still work one side of your body. Just know that if it's injury you're recovering from, you're going to eventually, at some point, with guidance of a healthcare practitioner, strengthen that injured side. So there are your W's. We're going to have a little fun and throw some stuff. So I'm going to give you 2 options for this next exercise, and you can choose. You can do them both. You can mix and match. So if you're seated, what I want you to do, this is often, I use this as a stress relieving technique. If I'm in the gym, I'll use a slam ball. And a slam ball is a weighted ball full of sand that doesn't bounce back up and knock out your teeth. So I want you to think, if you're sitting, or you can do this standing, you're going to take this slam ball. So imagine you've got a ball that's quite heavy in your hands, and you're going to bring it in towards your belly or your chest and raise it straight up to the ceiling and slam it down. Don't drop your head. Now, I don't want you to go to the floor to pick it up. Imagine it kind of comes back to you part way, and you're going to bring it into your chest, raise it up, slam it down. Okay, this is great for getting rid of frustration. So you can go ahead and stick with that exercise if you're seated or standing, or you just like it. I'm going to go into a squat. So my legs are about hip distance apart. I'm standing on the mat. I want to make sure that I'm going to wiggle my toes and spread them out. I want as much of my foot on the mat as possible, and my legs are hip distance apart. How I check this is I place my hands on my hips and I run them down the side of my legs. Okay, if they're a little bit wider, my legs are a little bit wider than hip distance, that's okay, but I don't want them really wide or really narrow. That's going to change the dynamic of the squat, and this works really good for my balance. I'm going to turn my toes just out slightly to the side. It's just very, very slight, and when I squat, my knees never go over my toes. So what I want you to do is imagine you're sitting down onto a chair. Your butt is not going to go way down low past your hips because the chair is not way down there. So imagine your butt touching the chair and coming back up. Your arms can be at your sides. You can hold your hands, clasp them in front of your chest. You can bring them straight out in front of you. You can raise them overhead, whatever works for you. Okay, so do not fold when you squat. Sit, so your chest is going to be up. I'm going to bring my bum down to sit on this chair. My chest is up. I'm still looking forward or slightly towards the ground, but I'm not dropping my head. Now I just have to adjust my feet a little bit. That was a little narrow for me. My bum touches that chair and up I go. Now my core is tight, so your core has to do this motion. And down, this strengthens the butt, the legs, and the core, and up. Now we're going to add to this. Imagine when you go down, you are going to pick up a Kleenex off that chair with your butt cheeks. So think of squeezing those butt cheeks to propel you up, okay? So I'm gonna go down, imagine picking up that Kleenex, squeeze my butt cheeks to bring me back up, and that's strengthening what we call the posterior chain, the back of your legs. And squat down, and back up, and down. You can do these slower than me if that's what it needs to maintain your form. And down, what is your core doing? And back up, it needs to be tight, okay? Because that's gonna protect your low back. And down, pick up your Kleenex, back up. And down, and back up. One more in this set. And down, and back up. And if you're utilizing that slam ball, that imaginary slam ball, or if you really have one at home, good for you. That's what you can choose to continue on with if you wish. Now, when we're using bigger muscle groups, you might find that you get out of breath quicker, as I apparently am. I haven't done some squats. It's been a little while. So they are one of my very favorite exercises, though. And they can be done with equipment such as dumbbells. And you would simply be holding on to them, and that is something that you can choose to use or not. Is where to put your hands. Set 2, I'm going to bring that bum down, not quite sit on the imaginary chair. I just want to touch the imaginary chair and come back up, holding that Kleenex, okay? Drop that butt down, your chest is forward still, and up. That's the biggest thing that I see going to the next squat is people hinge at the hips and push their bum back. Well, that's not how you're going to sit on a chair. You're going to go right to the back side of the chair. So we want to sit on the chair, just touch it and up, and drop it down and up. Watch those knees don't shoot over the toes, and up and down and up and down and up. We're gonna head into a third set. Okay, so slam balls or squats. Whew. Set up that core and drop your hips down and back up. Squeeze your Kleenex. So pull that Kleenex out of the box. So what I want you to do is keep up with these movements and down and back up. That's 3. So give me 5 more and we're going to cool down after the break and back up.
Keep moving. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
I hope you've had a chance to have a drink, and we're going to get into the cool down portion. Now, when I think of designing my cool downs, I think about, can I do these anywhere or in any space during my day and in my life? Sometimes my husband's like, seriously, when I'm stretching on the plane, I'm taking up all the room, because I like to keep my body moving and pain-free. So I'm going to do the cool down standing today, but you can have a seat and do this cool down entirely from a chair or anywhere you might be. So these are exercises or stretches that you can take with you. I have migraines and they're linked to my sight loss. So lots of times I focus on the neck. So we're going to do half head circles. So I want you to think of dropping your chin towards your chest. Now you're going to roll your head through, so bringing your right ear towards your right shoulder. There's kind of a part of a circle. Now roll it through at the front. So your other ear is at your shoulder. So think of drawing half of a circle forward, kind of with your nose. Well, there's another letter to add to our letters. It's kind of like a U. So we're just rotating the head. Just a half circle, dropping your chin down, around, and through. I really, really like these. Down, around, and through. Excellent. So we did some work on squats, working that posterior chain, so the back of your legs, your butt. I'm going to incorporate a forward fold that you can feel in your legs, in your back, and in your shoulders too, even. So if you're seated, you're going to think of hinging at the hips and walking your hands down your legs. You're going to keep a very flat back, like a table. And I'm standing, I'm going to hinge at the hips and start walking my hands down my legs. Now, when I say a flat back, my head's in line with my spine. Okay, so I'm not dropping my head down in case my heart rate is still up. I've softened my knees a little bit so my legs aren't locked straight. I'm just going to walk down. Oh, there it is. I can feel it up my hamstrings, so behind my legs. So nice flat back. So if I want to come balance my bowl of Reese's Pieces or treats on your back, I can do that without them rolling everywhere. Instead of when you drop your head, everything's going to slide off. So feeling that stretch, walking it up. And we're going to do that again. Walk it down. Feel that stretch. Because I'm standing, I can kick my hips back a little bit, so pushing my bum back slightly. I'm getting a deeper stretch because I'm able to walk my hands down a little bit. Now, if you want, whether you're seated or standing, you can let your arms hang. I'm still not dropping that head. I feel this all the way down to my toes. And slowly roll back up. We're going to take that same type of motion because now, hopefully, your heart rate has calmed down a bit. If it was up at all, especially if you're using weights, it can elevate that heart rate. Now we can kind of drop the head. So this is a ragdoll. You can do it seated or standing, and I am standing. If your heart rate is still up, go back to that stretch that we just did. Okay, you don't want to drop that head. I'm going to just cross my arms. So I've got my opposite hand to the back of the top, kind of back of my tricep of each arm. You can let them hang. You can clasp your hands, go with what's comfortable. This is just comfortable for me. Now I'm going to hinge at the hips again, that same motion, folding forward. Now you can round your back like a cat. Let your head drop. This is a ragdoll. So if it feels good to hang your arms and swing them, you can go ahead and do that. Go with where you feel the stretch. When I kind of clasp onto my arms, I get a greater stretch in my shoulders. So think of your body weight kind of assisting you here. And breathe. Slowly roll up. And I'm going to come out of that. So you're going to do those motions very slowly. If there's any one of those stretches that you really found, well, that's super helpful, I want to do that again, do it. Take it. Use it. So I want you to stay moving, stay motivated, and stay with us because we'll be back with an interview after the break.
Coming up on Healthy at Home, Bobbi learns the healing touch. We're back with health and wellness tips on Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
When we're working out, we use a lot of energy, and energy pretty much makes the world go round. So I am here with Donna Chicoine today to talk all things energy. Donna, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
I'm a healing touch practitioner. Healing touch is an energy-based therapy that consciously uses the hands and the heart, of course, in an intentional way to bring about health and healing. When the practitioner puts their hands on you, it brings you into a relaxation response, and that initiates many things within the body. And it balances the energy field or biofield. The energy field extends about arm's length around your body, and it's kind of like your protection. And if you can keep that healthy and healed and balanced, it actually can help to keep disease from entering your physical body. It works with the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of your body.
Now, you're also a nurse,
Yes.
correct? How does this integrate into that field as well?
Well,
in the hospital setting,
healing touch was developed by Janet Metkin, a holistic nurse, in 1989, and she developed it so that it would fit with the medical model. It would be a complement to any medical care you were receiving, and she developed a lot of techniques. There's a whole integration program that integrates healing touch into hospital settings. I was in Hawaii and actually met a lady who was on staff in the hospital. She had all the healing touch books, everything that I had at home in my home. When I was working as a nurse, I worked at the Cooperative Health Center in Prince Albert, and they actually assisted me with my training and allowed me to practice healing touch at the clinic.
That's fantastic. You've even used this on yourself, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I had a couple of bad falls. I fractured a vertebrae in my back, and I was dancing and doing the Virginia reel, and I fractured my hip. So the healing touch was just phenomenal for healing.
Now, did it reduce pain? Did it speed the healing? What did you feel were your results?
Well, it definitely reduced the pain. I was in the outpatients for 6 hours without any pain medication when I fractured my hip, and it was the healing touch that allowed me to survive that 6 hours. And then I have a group of friends, because healing touch, there are several classes. They have a very well supported online practice groups, online education. So the practice groups get together, and when someone is injured or hurt, and they work together to help you to heal. And it releases so much pain, and it brings the body into balance so you can heal. So I was never, either condition, I was never in a lot of pain. And I healed very well and very fast, and I really have no effects now from either.
What about pain as far as a mental and emotional health? Can it help with that too?
Yes, in fact, you can do a technique that's on yourself that's called pain drain, and just by grounding on the earth and using your intention to allow the energy to move through your body, you can release pain, because pain is basically stuck energy.
I think you have a little exercise we can work through today. Do you have something that you can share with us?
Yes. Well, mostly, I think the biggest thing is people to realize that they are an electrical system, and they are like a battery. We have a positive charge above our head, a negative charge below our feet. And so we have to keep that battery charged and keep the energy moving. A couple of things that are really good are either Tai Chi or Qigong to move energy through the body. But just realizing that you have this magnetic field between your hands. So if you just put your hands together and then pull them apart.
Just out in front of me?
In front of you,
Okay.
yes. and then just bring them together, and then just pull them apart. And just keep doing that until you feel anything between your hands.
Almost like heat to me. I
Yes.
feel a bit of heat.
Yeah, so whatever you're feeling is right. It doesn't matter. Everybody will feel something different. You might feel a pulling or pushing, and so this is your heartbeat gives off an electrical beat. So we need to be grounded, just like in a house. You have to have the grounding, otherwise you're picking up static from anything you touch. You have to have a source that's bringing that energy into the house. So that we are the same. So if you can put your left hand up into the air, your palm up into the air, and your right hand down to the earth, and it's like you're drawing the energy in and moving it through your body down into the earth. So you can release into the earth whatever is no longer serving you, and you can draw energy in, and just it's like you're flushing it through your system. Adam McLeod, dream healer, he's a natural healer. He's a naturopathic doctor in British Columbia. He has a really nice book he's written called Intention Heals, and he has a meditation where you just visualize like a lightning bolt coming through your body and just recharging your body and releasing any energy that
So I don't have
no
to use
longer
my hands
serves
at
you.
all.
You don't have to use your hands at
Okay.
all. Intention heals. So if you can't reach, you can't use your hands, you can just imagine that part and imagine bringing the energy from the source to that part. Or if it's pain, you can just imagine that pain being drawn into the earth. And if you walk barefoot on the earth, it's very, very healing.
Love walking barefoot.
Yes, barefoot on the earth is very healing. Or laying on the grass and just allowing the earth to take away any of your pain. It's very, very beneficial.
Not as fun in the winter months.
No, no, but you can visualize that you're on a beach. You can visualize you're on the grass.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
We could all use a little more of that. So if somebody wants to do this at home, they can visualize, they can use the hand technique that you showed us. If they do go to a practitioner, do they have to have hands put on them at all?
Yes, but only with permission.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yes, and the practitioner always wants to make you feel safe and to know that we're not doing the healing, you are doing your healing. We are bringing the energy to you, and your body will know exactly what to do with that.
So this might be a good way to recharge before we actually exercise. Donna, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. And this is something I'll definitely be trying at home regularly. So until next time, we'll see you again.
Produced by Honeycut Studios. Host Bobbi Janzen. Accessibility consultant Sierra Roth. Special thanks to Donna Chicoine. Integrated Described Video Consultant Ron Rickford. Content Development Specialist Jim Crisco. Supervising Producer Jennifer Johnson. Director Programming Lisanne Gagne. Director Content Development and Production Kara Nye. Vice President Content Development and Operations John Melville. President and CEO David Arrington. Copyright 2024 Accessible Media Inc.
An AMI original production.